If mentally incapacitated people cannot enter into legally binding agreements based on the fact that they are mentally deficient in being able to understand and comprehend what it is that they are agreeing to, therefore they need those that have the power of attorney to represent them. Can a president who is mentally impaired, proven to be so, driven from office as a result thereof, can the pardons he issued actually be legally binding?
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons.
Well, that was in December of 2020, just before Joe Biden was installed as the 46th president, referring to news reports that people were concerned that Donald Trump was going to preemptively pardon his family and people like Rudy Giuliani. And the media was losing its mind, saying that preemptive pardons are a definite, clear indication of guilt. You wouldn't issue a pardon unless you were guilty of something. Donald Trump issued no such preemptive pardons. Joe Biden said that is not how he would run his administration, that there wouldn't even be the thought of a preemptive pardon on his part ever being given out for any reason.
Breaking news: President Biden, in his final hours, his final morning in office, has issued several high-profile pardons.
Among those pardoned this morning, Dr. Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and the members and staff who served on the House committee that investigated the January 6th attack on the Capitol, including Liz Cheney.
My, how the tables have turned.
Who is it that lies all the time? Joe Biden, who was driven out of the 1988 presidential campaign because he was a liar and a plagiarist and had fabricated half of his own biography and was forced out in disgrace. And yet, you brought him back. You called Donald Trump the liar, yet Joe Biden, I will not pardon my son. What did he do? I had no business dealings with my son. I've never met them. Pictures show up that he had. Emails show up that he's the big guy. He's a liar. But I'm wondering, is there a legal recourse to really cause people like Anthony Fauci and General Milley, the traitor, to really have a bad day?
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth. Somebody to the top of the line!
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty, and this is the Afternoon Drive. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That will give you notification of my rants, my ravings, my undeniably flawless reasonings. Please like and share this video. It's the way that we get the word out that we're here. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of the Afternoon Drive. So Joe Biden issues these preemptive pardons to people like Liz Cheney and Anthony Fauci, who thanked the president and were grateful. General Milley released a statement saying that even though he knows he is innocent of what? He hasn't actually been charged with anything. Even though he knows he's innocent, to have to be dragged through that, the stress, the anxiety, the financial burden. Funny, nobody thought about that when they were doing it to Donald Trump. You put him through 2 mock impeachments. You lawfared him to no end for the last 2.5 years. You drudged up charges that weren't even misdemeanors and you turned them into felonies. You gave him judges like the diddler. That one dude with the white hair and the creepy smile looks like he is the nude guy with the raincoat that goes to a kid's playground and flashes all the mommies there diddling himself. I call him the diddler. The one that said Mar-a-Lago's only worth $18 million. The diddler. You raided his home, which there was no need for that. And I can tell you that the National Record Archives would have never done that to any other president. It was only Donald Trump. You drag that hag, that nutcase, Jean Carroll, whatever her name was. He raped me in a Nordstrom's dressing room, but it was sexy. I didn't feel like a victim. It was sexy. That's what she said to Jake Tapper. No, I'm sorry. To, what's the other? Yeah, was it Jake Tapper? No, I guess it was the other guy. What about the lives you destroyed? General Mike Flynn financially bankrupt him, trying to bankrupt Rudy Giuliani. There was no worry about them. Liz Cheney, part of the Cheney crime family, whose father is an absolute war pig, war criminal, profiteer of war. Liz Cheney, Anthony Fauci, who more than likely is behind the master plan of the creation of this virus that was designed on purpose, which is why his pardon goes back to 2014. Think about that. Oh, so does Hunter's to 2014. Why was that? Oh, because the virus that escaped from Wuhan was first being worked on by Anthony Fauci and his henchmen at a lab in Ukraine. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Starting to put the pieces together. I said 2 years into Trump's administration that Mike Pence was the enemy within. I am getting sick and tired. Now the media, Mike Pence came to the inauguration without his wife. It's obvious that his wife at the Jimmy Carter funeral wants nothing to do with Donald Trump. That's because Mike Pence and his wife are not actual Christians. They are whores pretending to be Christians. I have had it with the phony Boy Scout bullhawk of deep state Mike Pence. He is the traitor within. I said it 2 years into the Trump administration that Pence had to go. Pence and Fauci and Bill Gates traveled the world together giving lectures on the need for mass vax. And Shazam Batman in 2017, when Anthony Fauci said that the new administration guaranteed, will face a pandemic. Who does Donald Trump turn to? He turns to his vice president, who had dealt with an outbreak in Indiana. So he had, quote, experience in handling these mass pandemics. Who did Mike Pence work with to inoculate Indiana? Ta-da-ta-da! Anthony Fauci. I think President Trump ought to go after Mike Pence because he didn't get a preemptive pardon. And you know Rand Paul was salivating at the opportunity to finally get Anthony Fauci because this murderous madman, and that's what he is, unleashed hell on the planet and covered his arse and put you and I through living hell of mandates and fear-mongering and causing families to have being ripped and divided apart. And the most vile thing I have ever seen in my life was a 3-year-old on one of the morning shows asked Dr. Fauci, if Santa Claus had COVID, And he comes in my house, will he kill my mom and dad? And Anthony Fauci said, oh no, I went to the North Pole and I gave Santa Claus the vax and he's okay. And all the hosts on the morning show went, oh, wasn't Anthony Fauci? No, that wasn't a good thing. The fact that a 3-year-old is traumatized that a fictional character could come into his house and kill his parents, that was because of Anthony Fauci. I had so much content on this, and our friends on the tube said, you can't share any of this. And I got striked. But I have to say, the vaccine works beautifully. As a disclaimer. Preemptive pardon. Okay. Here's my question. I want you to really think about this. Get ready for this one.
Alrighty then.
Since we know Joe Biden is actually mentally deficient, and you got people like, for whatever reason, Bill O'Reilly is out there, kind of lamenting the fact that Donald Trump was too hard on Biden in his speech. Donald Trump was too hard on Biden. Donald Trump, was trying to get revenge against Biden, but we don't even know if Biden was making these decisions, that somebody else was making them for them, and he's not even aware that these things have been done. Bullhawk. Bill, save it. I get really sick and tired of everybody looking at you as you're some type of expert and historian, especially on presidents. You're not. You don't know your arse from a hole in the ground, historically. And I'll match wits with you anytime you name the place. That said, we know that Joe Biden is mentally deficient. Was it the FBI that had to do the interrogation of Joe Biden following the documents found in his home and garage? And what was the official assessment in writing? That he is mentally deficient to the point this could not be brought to trial because the jury would feel sorry for him being a confused old man. Okay. That's the nearest thing we've got to actual written documentation that Joe Biden is, in fact, mentally impaired. Mentally impaired people cannot enter into legally binding agreement. So if a mentally incompetent person, i.e. an elder person who gets to the point where they can't make these decisions for themselves, they have to give power of attorney over to one of their adult children. So if Joe Biden, mentally impaired, can't enter into a legally binding agreement, can the pardons he issued actually be legally binding? And remember, constitutionally, no one else is authorized to issue pardons on behalf of the president. It must be done by him. They were worried about Donald Trump doing preemptive. Have you noticed that everything that the Democrats accuse Donald Trump of, they are guilty of? And I am waiting for you media people and you Democrats to finally admit the obvious. It isn't Donald Trump with the lying problem. It's criminally corrupt Joe Biden.